Hey guys, VideoJames, and I am actually recording this video in the middle of the night. It is looking at my clock right now, it is 12:18 at night. This is how late I'm recording this. This is literally the point of no return when I have absolutely nothing else to do in the middle of the night and no one else is home, so I'm just recording instantly. And honestly, if I could, I would record a lot more at night, because let's be basic, nighttime is the time when we don't do anything. And it's basically just, okay, we don't have any time to do anything, so we might as well get work done. And I would record a lot more at night, except I don't live on my own, so it'd be kind of hard for me to do that without disturbing other people. But anyway, I digress. We're going to get on to the point of this video, which is another review video. In case you guys don't know, or you haven't really gotten familiar with this channel, I do reviews on a lot... I do reviews on stuff like games, occasionally toys. I think I did one toy, which was the sonic screwdriver, if I have that somewhere. I don't think I do. And a lot of times it ends up being movies. A lot of times it switches between movies and games. Rarely ever any toys. I am planning a toy review coming up. It's not going to be traditional where if I'm like, holding up, say... Let me grab him. It's not going to be traditional like, say, if I'm holding up Grimlock here and reviewing him and doing on-screen transformations, which... Let's be honest, I probably wouldn't, because that would honestly just take too much time sometimes, especially with some of the lengthier transforming figures, like, say, Gen 4 Bumblebee, because he took, like, 15 steps just to transform. But no! This time, I'm reviewing Legend of Spyro Eternal Night for DS. If you don't know, Legend of Spyro is actually one of my favorite old games ever made. Legend of Spyro, Legend of Zelda, Crash Bandicoot, and Donkey Kong, along with Super Mario, are some of my oldest favorite games ever made, along with the older Pokemon games like Silver and Crystal. So anyway, Legend of Spyro Eternal Night takes place after the Legend of Spyro Dawn of the Dragons, I think is the first one. I can't remember. I can never remember. I can't remember if it goes Spyro Dawn of the Dragons and Spyro Eternal Night and the other one, or Spyro other one, Spyro Eternal Night and then Spyro Dawn of the Dragons. Actually, now I do remember, it is the other way around. Spyro Eternal Night comes after Dawn of the Dragons. So what was the first one? I don't know. It might have been Year of the Dragon. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Do not quote me on that. I say that a lot now. I realize I say a lot of regrettable stuff in my videos. Regrettable? It's not a commercial now. Anyway, Legend of Spyro Eternal Night takes place after Spyro and Cinder have that little showdown when Cinder is being controlled by the Dark Master. And Spyro takes her back to the Dragon Castle, I think is what it's called. I think it's a castle they live in. But anyway, a great evil starts to stir up in whatever world Spyro lives in again, which is basically Gaul the Ape King returning to power to try and resurrect the Dark Master. And you basically just play through Spyro to try and beat the Ape King and go through all of it. And I am actually reviewing the DS version, but I want to get the main kind of cooperative stuff that spans across all this stuff first. So, first off, the gameplay. Playing Spyro, you've got three basic features. You've got the attacking features, which is basically just fire breath and every other attack that he's got. And Spyro Eternal Night actually does that really well. While giving Spyro 4 different breath attacks, it also gives him power-ups based on those breath attacks. For instance, if you use the Earth's power-up, you would get an invincible shield that would last until your power meter ran out. If you were using the electric attack, you would basically speed up to the point where you were faster than a Greninja. Yes, I put a Greninja reference in there. And another essential part of Spyro is the enemy fights, as well as the storyline. And the storyline in Spyro kind of flows well. The boss fights and all the little grunt fights are kind of inserted at the perfect points. And in Spyro Eternal Night, while there is only really cutscenes and slight messages displayed across the bottom screen, Spyro Eternal Night actually does do a really good job of displaying the story, while at the same time keeping the pace moving and not slowing everything down. And while there are some parts where it feels like you should have a big kind of screenish sort of part for the story, the parts where it does not do that, but still uses the little text box, actually does fit really well. And then another part of Spyro is the actual fighting the enemy. Now, the enemies in a lot of these kind of games, a lot of these, I don't know what to actually classify Spyro as, probably like an adventure RPG, I would say. But a lot of the fights in some of those games can get a little bit tedious, that a lot of the time you can end up spending hours on one boss fight, or you can just spend 20 minutes on something that seems like it should take, I don't know, 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes, 50 minutes, and it seems a little undignified, that it seems a little redundant now. But Spyro Eternal Night actually does really well when it comes to the boss fights, that it's not too hard to figure out what you have to do, it's not too hard to figure out what the boss's strategy is and how to beat him, and the grunt fights actually aren't that difficult, giving the game a certain ease to the fighting, while at the same time trying to make your way through all the puzzle worlds. And that's actually another classification for Spyro, is probably puzzle world gaming. And then moving on to the actual puzzle section of the game, the puzzles in Spyro actually do have a certain flow to them that makes them kind of consistent and easy to figure out. That a lot of times it's just shifting certain mirrors around, and it takes a couple of tries sometimes, a couple of mirrors. I know I got stuck on a few times when I had to go back and re-put them in because I blacked out. But Legend of Spyro actually did do well with Eternal Night when they made the puzzles, that the puzzles don't really repeat themselves too much, and you do kind of have to think different ways to finish the puzzles. And it actually does make the puzzles flow in a more cohesive manner, that they aren't all just the same puzzle, so it's like, oh, I gotta make the light beam bounce that way and then go up. But no, Legend of Spyro actually does do a good job of the puzzle thing, and it actually does do pretty decent when it comes to actually having the puzzles accomplish real-world effects. Although, there is one slight glitch if you're playing Eternal Night on DS, that when you're using the Ice World, and there's that little puzzle that gives you the Ice Bridge, there is kind of a little glitch where the Ice Bridge kinda doesn't go up all the way sometimes, and you end up having to restart the level to actually manage to get through it. And that glitch is kind of disappointing, that with that glitch it kind of makes it to where you kind of have to restart, and it adds a whole another half hour to what you were doing. And it's like, oh my god, I beat this again. Let me get the puzzle already. And then, that's basically almost all of it for Spyro. Like I said, the story flows really well. The enemies aren't too hard to beat. The puzzles aren't too hard to figure out. There are a few slight bugs, like in Gaul's fight, you kind of have to use the Earth Shield on DS, otherwise it's kind of impossible to actually beat him because you'll die to the ghosts before you can even land about half health. And there is that little Ice World glitch, but other than that, there's very few glitches in the game. For a DS game based off of a console game, they actually did a really good job of making it flow smoothly. All the graphics are actually really good. That's another thing, is the graphics in Eternal Night actually don't look too bad. They look like actually the first Crash Bandicoot game on an actual Sony system. So, giving a Spyro rating for Eternal Night on DS, probably 5 out of 5. It is actually one of my favorite Spyro games on DS that I've ever played. That the first Spyro game on DS kind of felt like it was lacking a little something. The quality was a little bit less so than you'd expect, even for an older game. And Dawn of the Dragon kind of did have a lesser storyline, and it didn't really have as much luster and shine as Eternal Night did. But Spyro Eternal Night definitely gets a 5 out of 5, and definitely, in my opinion, if you want to play a Spyro game on DS, that would be the one I start out with, because it doesn't really leave too much of the story out from the previous game that you need to figure out, and it still carries on the story and sets it up for the next game. But anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. I'll leave a link down in the description for you guys to go get Legend of Spyro for your own. And like I said, there will be a new review coming out soon. That'll kind of be a different format from how I've usually done them. You know, I've done reviews like I've done with Smart Pixel. I've had my little face, I've had it up here, and I've had like a picture of the game website or something up on screen in this section. Or I've just done these kind of reviews where I got Pikachu over there in the background, the little Dalek over there, you can still see him, he's just kind of hiding behind my shoulder. And I just hold up a copy of something, or I talk about something and I review it, and that's basically how I do reviews. So anyway, I'm leaving this video here. I'll leave links down in the description again in case any of you guys want to go play Spyro, and I'll also leave a link down in the description for the trailer to Eternal Night for DS, in case any of you want to kind of see what it is before you actually play it, in case you haven't really played a Spyro game before. But anyway, I'm leaving this video here. If you guys liked it, you can slap the like button as always, and I will see you guys in the next video.